40 of the best sim racers. $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker starts now.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to Brooklyn. Now we're not talking about the Big Apple. Sean Ambrose probably wishes we were. This instead is the rolling Irish hills of Brooklyn, Michigan, and Michigan International Speedway, where for decades this track was amongst the most prestigious open wheel racing facilities that you could win at in the country. Some would argue second behind only the Brickyard. But the track eventually became a little more infamous, and it became famous in part due to its high speed and often spectacularly over-the-top wrecks and a little certain opening lap snafu back in the mid-90s. But we're going to throw that all out tonight because we have the best iRacing open wheel oval racing drivers in attendance with their sights set on this track with one goal in mind. Just win, baby. It's Thursday night, and we're live at the iRacing Esports Network for round 12 of the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by Butt Kicker. This is the Plasma Tracks 200. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Galvin. Alongside me, the banker, Brian Yazik. Sean Ambrose is turning the knobs tonight in place of Amjad. Cameras, of course, from Dougie Beard, and this is the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green. Yaz, we were last night in the IndyCar Series. You had a podium. I ran out of talent. But what did we learn?
Well, we learned that you should have learned that when I tell you something about the track, that's going to happen. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Michigan International Speedway, my personal home track. I've been here several times. Located in Brooklyn, Michigan, about an hour and a half drive down to the west from Detroit down I-94. It's all beautiful country down that way. D-shaped oval. 18 degrees of banking in the corners, and Jason's right. This place has been known for a legendary open wheel track as well. kind of, as you know, as you mentioned, over the course of time, it's kind of been adopted by the NASCAR side of things because IndyCar's current keepers and the Michigan International Speedway can't seem to find happy middle ground. The track has said they are willing to come back. They are open. It has to be the right deal. So until then, we just have the virtual facility here that we get to play with and watch these Lotus 79 cars run around here. It is, I mean, you kind of see it in the background of right there on the screen. I hope you like that.
Chaos? Is chaos an accurate way to describe that?
It's chaos with a dash of insanity. Now, usually there is a track guide that does accompany this here at the first part, but wait, I thought we didn't have one. Oh, okay, we do have one. You know what? So that's our rookie director, Sean Ambrose,
ladies and
out
gentlemen.
There. It's his first time. It's his first time directing, so we got to give him some slack here. So we're gonna take it to that track guide here at the Michigan International Speedway in the GSRC Lotus 79. Here we go. Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Michigan International Speedway, my personal home track here in the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. Without further ado, here we go. So you see for the money lap, for the qualifying lap, get it right down there to the apron. Don't let it drift all the way up to the wall. You're just going to be scrubbing speed. Bringing it right down here to that yellow line. Try not to hit that apron. The car will spin out in a heartbeat. Bringing it right out here, bringing it a little bit out towards the fence, maybe not come all the way out. Again, the name of the game is to not scrub speed. Down here into turn 3 once again, nothing different than 1 and 2. Bring it right down to the bottom. Don't let it come all the way up either. Come it right down there, drive straight from the apron. Watch the gravel there on the infield, across the line there. Now as the run moves on, and drive beyond even lap 2, you're going to see guys all over this Michigan International Speedway. Up here in about this third groove, I wouldn't go venture higher than that just because the car tends to wash out a little bit. But then here comes the defense maneuver. You're going to see, guys, this track is 4 or 5 lanes wide on the backstretch. You're going to have to block every single one of them if you're the leader. Down here into turn 3 again, letting it float up here. You can go a little bit higher than you can in 1 and 2. Let you really get a good rundown, sniff the draft of whoever's in front of you, try to set up a pass for turn 1, but across the line, and that's going to complete our track guide here around Michigan. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
Well, that's exactly what you would have wanted to see and learn about if you were tuning in to Wednesday night's Lionheart IndyCar Series race.
That was once again rookie director Sean Ambrose.
Yes,
But
did you learn anything from that though that you used last night that will be absolutely a waste for tonight's broadcast?
in a serious note, the thing is, especially with these cars, I mean, I did kind of mention it in the in that lap guide. Michigan being very wide, not quite as wide as Auto Club, what's commonly referred to as the sister track of the Michigan International Speedway. Both were also owned by Roger Penske at one point. That's a fun little fact. So Michigan's not quite as wide. You still got 3 solid lanes that you can play with. So the biggest thing that we took away from last night, especially in the loud pedal chat, is when you kind of are about the 4th car back in that pack, that snarling pack, if you kind of crack the throttle a little bit and then turn in, you can really kind of overcome a lot of that aero wash and fight your way through the middle of the corner. Now, the Lotus is a little different because, I mean, the top end speed's just a little bit slower by 30 miles an hour or so. But the same principles can still apply out there as well.
Yeah, I'm most curious to see if this thing has a little bit of the wobble with it when you're tucked up behind somebody with no fuel and old tires, because turns out that was a problem for me last night. Hey, the lap guide, part of the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green, brought to you, of course, by our friends at Sim Experience. Team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems provide unparalleled realism, the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer, and it can also make for an effective training tool for real-world drivers. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem. That includes the GS5 seat, Stage Series motion system, and of course the great Sim Vibe software. Visit simexperience.com. Sim Experience with an X, not with an EX. Of course, the promo code is SimXLion if you'd like 5% off. SimXLion for 5% off of that Sim Vibe software. We do have a championship that we are trying to decide, and we are 2/3 of the way, or will be 2/3 of the way through after tonight's event. Let's take a look at the championship standings presented by Butt Kicker, and you'll see that Ryan Otis, due to his, again, stellar driving both on ovals and road courses, has just absolutely opened up a giant gap almost out of nowhere due to some bad luck Dustin Wardlow is kind of seeing here. Doesn't hurt Ryan Otis that both Sage Karam and Mark Cohn, both of whom were in the top 4 at points, George Sandman as well, as you can see, have all missed some time and therefore have all plummeted in the standings. This does not account for the 2 drivers that this series is affording its drivers. So only 16 of the 18 races will count. But Dustin Wardlow now finds himself in the middle of a hornet's nest with Paul Jenkins and David Clymer, the rookie, back there in a battle for second spot. Moving on now to the team championship standings here this year. And you'll see that, well, the defending team champion split into 2, and guess what? They're still really good. Raven Motorsports.
Funny how that works out sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Raven Motorsports Black. By the way, when you have first and second in team points, it usually bodes well for, or first and second in driver points, it usually bodes well for team points, and you can see why there. Ryan Otis and Dustin Wardlow have been carrying the mail there, and I think James Paulson is just fine being a stamp on the envelope as they have rocketed out to a 389-point lead over the teammates, Travis Jagerlander and Ron Hacker and George Gonzaldo. Meanwhile, we've got a Rookie of the Year battle to decide, presented by Butt Kicker, and all 3 of the top 3 in the rookie points have missed time lately. So Sage Karam, George Sandman, and Mark Cohn have all missed time of late, and I'm looking right now, and I know Mark is here because he runs with us over on the IndyCar side, but I do not see either George nor Sage unless I'm just blind as a bat here, yes. So
you are not blind as a bat just yet. No Sage, no Sandman.
There you go. In fact, I'm a little confused because our graphics for Rookie of the Year are significantly different than what I have been provided by the Lionheart series. So I'm not sure which one we should go with at this point. We're going to run
with this one.
I tell you what, I'm going to run with this one because
director Sean Ambrose says that's the one.
I'm going to run with that one because I think the website's way behind. So that's good. Paul Jenkins, that makes me feel better. I was trying to figure out how Sage Karam's missed a third of the races and was still the runaway points leader in Rookie of the Year. Paul Jenkins is the Rookie of the Year. First broadcast for us, guys. We're really sorry about this. None of us know what we're doing. Qualifying, meantime, is on track right now. By the way, weather today shouldn't really be much of a factor in anything. It is warm, 85. It's partly cloudy, if you want to call that partly cloudy. I guess that's partly cloudy in Michigan, right?
Yeah, you see 1 or 2 clouds, and you're like, yeah, that's it.
I live in California. 1 or 2 clouds is just like every day. 2-mile-per-hour wind, so no crosswinds to really worry about here. This is the Lotus 79 that we run in the Lionheart Retro Series. So, of course, a ground effects, naturally aspirated Formula One car. It is not crazy about ovals, but it makes for some crazy good racing. This is a modified fixed setup. Andrew Kinsella, one of the league admins, and a perennial championship contender over on the IndyCar side of things here in this series. Boy, spinning and backing into the wall and qualifying. Not advised on a track like Michigan. I'm just throwing that out.
Not usually, but
sorry to be interrupted on that. I just looked up and went, "Oh, David Clymer. That's probably not a good idea."
There's a very unique thing that has been, forwarded over, and the guys that that work kind of in the background at the Lionheart series and provide the facts and the figures and the stats that make us sound really good out there. As you see, Dean Marty Grumall finishing his lap. So you would think, usually, racer logic, sit on the pole. That's where I'm going to be, right? Like that's the spot that you want to be to win the race, right?
Let me guess. You're going to tell me not here.
I am. Thanks for spoiling that. Boy, you're fun at parties. The pole winner in the 2 previous seasons here in the Retro Series has not won the race. So right now, Dustin Wardlow, well, you're pretty much pot committed at that point. The fun fact here that we're going to run across, this is going to be a brand new winner in the Retro Series as well, as Goodman, the winner from last season, is not attending, not racing in this season at all. And the first year winner is not going to be there as well. And I had that right in front of me. Bobby Mike. There it is. I was looking for that nugget of information.
Here is a fun fact for you, yes. This is one I can pull out.
I like fun facts.
Both winners at Michigan picked up their first Lionheart victories.
So logic says we could see a first-time winner tonight.
Wardlow, sorry. Ryan Lotus, you're out. No, Mark Cohn can't do it. No, that's actually those are the only 3 retro winners that I see in the race. So, yeah, I mean.
So what you're saying is,
I mean, even if we expand it to IndyCar, that's just Robert Bloom and George Gonzalo are out. Hey, I guess we're gridding. Sean's yelling at me in the ear because we got a 7-minute pace lap here, and we need to.
Apparently, he thinks that we don't have eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, speaking of Dustin Wardlow's, we go to the qualifying results presented by the Butt Kicker. Dustin Wardlow, Candyman for Bakersfield on the pole by 0.06 of a second over David Clymer. Ryan Otis, championship points leader, and David Altman, Paul Jenkins, Ron Hacker, Mark Cohn, Adam Young, JP Winchannel, and Frank Beeser. That's top 10.
In the 11th spot there, we've got Ken Hacker with the Mardi Gras Mall, as we mentioned there. In the 12th spot, unlucky 13th, James Paulson, who's going to try and turn that luck around and get into that and make that number very lucky here with Mike Brigney, who is outside there in 14th. Robert Blue in 15th, Taft Baldwin 16th, with Joshua Gaiman in 17th, 18th to Mike Belair, who's a very aggressive driver at Indy, so I'll be curious to see if he can carry that forward here at the Michigan International Speedway. Last car on speed, we've got Tyson Landis, and then now it sorts out by iRacing with Lionel Kalisto in 20th.
And into 21st, Cody Eldred, followed by Chad Dalton, Scott Holmes, George Anzaldo, Finian DeCunha, Chris Lanini, Eric Block, and Travis Jagerlener. Those are your 28 cars that are going to go at it for 100 laps here. Chris Lanini was a teammate of Brian and I, is on the Loud Pedal team over in IndyCar, just put in our league chat that, quote, "I'm not qualifying. We were 5 wide into turn 1 at practice."
Yeah, we saw it.
We watched.
Well, and it's
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's so ironic that Chris is on Loud Pedal Motorsports, considering he is one of the softest spoken people I think I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, but a great guy.
Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
so we got like at least 3 more minutes before this race starts, right?
Yeah.
Hey, actually maybe not. Look, Wardlow's rolling. This is good. Only 2 minutes and 30. Talk to me about some of the storylines in this race you're watching.
Well, some of the storylines we got here, George Anzaldo getting an EOL for his incident at Indy last week where he was ruled at fault. Eric Block also getting an EOL, and Scott Holmes going to the end of the field. Now, going to the end of the field at Michigan in these cars is kind of like when you see in the NASCAR world at the Daytona or Talladega, right, and they go, "Oh, you have to start at the back." It's like, oh no, the fat kid can't make the 5th trip to the buffet. That's terrible. But
3 onboards terrible this week.
See, you read my mind.
Terrible. I don't know. Sean's yelling at it.
Oh, he is too. Yeah, I see. Oh, I see that now. We don't know what.
Can you yell if you type? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, we're not. This isn't our first time doing this.
We should have a behind-the-scenes documentary on GSRC production here. Ron Hacker is the 21 car, and you're minus 273 on board, followed by your points leader, Ryan Otis, in that Plasma Tracks on board, pair of Raven Motorsports drivers, and then David Clymer, the rookie for iRacing iFlag. Those are your 3 on-board cameras for this race. Dustin Wardlow bringing us to the green. Sean, you're welcome. I know the fans can't hear it, but I just want you to know that I'm listening and I care deeply about you. Dustin Wardlow going to bring him to the green with David Clymer, who is outside 100 laps around Michigan, and Dustin Wardlow was like, I want to make it 125 on the Loud Pedal before the pit straight even started. The green flag is out, and Dustin Wardlow leads them into turn 1 by a bunch. Ryan Otis followed him right through, so maybe the teammates working together there. David Clymer in 3rd. First car up top is that yellow car of David Altman. He's got Ron Hacker behind him. Paul Jenkins is there. Wardlow already getting worked by Ryan Otis to the outside. And here's where these cars, unlike the IndyCar, struggle because you get to the corner and they just flat run out of gear. So you can make the outside work for a pass in the IndyCar because you can kind of pinch guys down and get momentum off. But in the retro car, you're going to end up seeing a whole lot of this all night long where they run 2 and 3 wide because they just top out at the end of the straightaway. And I've had people ask me, why don't you guys just adjust the gearing so they don't top out at the end of the straightaway? I'm like, well, if you want to watch a bunch of cars go through turn 1 at Michigan at 84 miles an hour, then we can adjust the gearing.
I mean, that's just like going to your tap in the kitchen and saying, all right, let's just get beer out of that instead of water. And not do it and not know how it works. Just magically turn the hot water and get beer. As you see, Otis getting that draft, running up to the high side. But, I mean,
that is how you make a pass for the lead in the retro car here. In the Indy car, it's almost a full lap setup, right? You kind of want to get a run, usually down the back stretch, and get to the outside through 4, and then side draft into 1, and you want to pinch them down off 2, and that's how you clear. We all saw it if you watched our race last night here on the iRacing News Sports Network with the Indy cars. But in this car, what you really want to do is lay back about a half a car length, get the craziest run of your life, pull out, and then just pray that the first place car hits a wall of air.
Well, and the big thing too that we were finding out last night, and I know we were talking about it a lot in the Discord, the car in the Indy car last night, and it was the weirdest sensation. You'd be rolling around, and all of a sudden you'd get this massive run out of nowhere, and you would be 5-10 miles an hour. It felt like faster than everybody around you. Not happening in these cars, as you see Otis and Wardlow doing this side-by-side jig, and back there behind them, that's Adam Young, GSRC commentator extraordinaire. You just kind of stuck there. He can't go to his outside. He's got Ron lurking up that way. Ron has someone breathing down his back. That's the 39 of Mark Cohn.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, and this pack just continues to grow. It's kind of like rush hour. Oh, we got a
this is
put it out. Turn 2. Dean Mall, Joshua Gaiman. Want to say that was Hacker as well.
Ron, I still see Ron, maybe Ken.
The other one,
I think it was Ken. Boy, that got ugly real fast. Here's a replay with Mardi Gras. Oh, is that our first case of net code extraordinaire? Holy smokes! Wow. That is as bad of net code I have ever seen.
Got blue. Someone else got tagged in that back towards the end of it.
JP Winchittle was down low, Ken Hacker in the middle, and David Altman up top. And I mean, Ken Hacker's car jumped and turned sideways like he was on patrol in Fallujah. I mean, just out of nowhere.
It was kind of, what's the meme that was floating around a year ago? RKO out of nowhere? That's just what happened.
Dean Mull is in that. Gaiman's in it. Frank Bieser, usually upside down's a bad place to be. Mike Belier somehow got through that.
It was someone that got tagged as cars were bouncing around. And
Robert Bluen got hit by Bieser as he bounced off the wall pretty heavily and kind of dirt tracked it through the infield, but then it looks like Robert's car is almost okay, if you can believe that. Tyson Landis is upside. Oh, Dean, that's what you're looking at, Yaz. Boy, Tyson Landis. I tell you what, I don't know if Sean, if you can go get that, but an onboard with Tyson Landis would sure be entertaining. As he's working on it. Thank you, Sean. Robert Bluen, boy, you see, and there's Robert's got significant damage down the side pod.
And here we got the replay.
I'm just going to tell you right now, you better pull those seatbelts real tight.
And there's the replay of him sitting. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Here, well.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Oh!
Yeah.
That's and every iRacer knows it. That's I'm clear, quack.
Yep. Life is good. Never mind.
Yep.
Basically what just happened to Tyson Landis there.
Now the benefit,
cars,
though,
a lot of
cars on pit road. Mark Cohn pitted. He was the first I saw that really didn't have any damage. So fuel only, stop for the driver of the 39. And as you can see there, the lights on the pace car are out. So with no lap cars, we get very quick caution laps here at Michigan International Speedway.
Dustin Wardlow going to lead Ryan Otis back with Ron Hacker, Adam Young, and David Alt. That's your top 5 right now.
Rounding out that top 5, you got David Clymer, Paul Jenkins, Mike Eleanor Rigney, Taft Baldwin, and not Mark Cohn anymore. It'll be James Paulson once timing and scoring gets caught up. So there's your top 10. So find your favorite driver on the pylon there and just kind of follow along as we're going to roll here.
By the way, told that they can go 40-plus laps on fuel, he has.
Yeah.
So as the green comes back out, you wonder if you get 2 or 3 yellows, this car is really good at saving fuel versus the IndyCar. Boy, we got all sorts of issues in the back. Finney and DeCunha asking a passing under yellow penalty. I believe he went around Robert Bluen, who made a mistake. They just cleared it for him, so that's good. That was kind of a interesting restart here. Let's say they can go 40 and maybe somebody in the draft can stretch it to 42. If you got 1 yellow, now let's call it 45. You get another one, maybe all of a sudden you get somebody thinking about 1 stop here. You never know.
You can get. I think you can get to halfway, but then the problem is if you run green on the other side, you're not gonna make it.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and I think this car you're not gonna be able to get that big fuel savings. I mean, if you run it with an H pattern, you can throw a neutral and probably gain a lap, but it's not going to be as beneficial. Now you're going to be able to run. I mean, this car on low fuel it's a bat out of hell.
It's fun. I love this car on low fuel.
This car on full fuel. You remember how you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and you just finish that final plate and that feeling? That's how the car feels.
That's a great analogy, yes.
I'm full of it.
Wow.
Something. Some days.
He'll be here all night, folks.
Yeah, all night.
Unfortunately for you viewers at home, banks close at about 6 o'clock at night. So.
And fortunately for the viewers, unfortunately for my wife, I have to go upstairs, and she just lives with this. There's no off hours for me. Anyways, back to the action.
That must be why my wife works nights. Dustin Wardlow, Ryan Otis out in front. Boy, that's such a cool shot. I got to tell you, the iRacing chassis cameras and cameras Dougie's come up with on top of that are just, to me, so cool. That's something you give the folks at iRacing that have been working on racing sims a long time credit for, because for me it goes all the way back to like Grand Prix Legends on Windows 98, right? And I remember being not even a teenager sitting there playing it, and I would sail that thing into the right-hander down the back straight at Watkins Glen and purposely run it off the course and crash it to see how much stuff I could break. And then I would just go back and watch the suspension video. Like, it was the coolest replay. How many other people can do that?
Grand Prix Legends was one of the first ones to actually get the Nordschleife in that game.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Like, we look at like the Nordschleife now is okay. That's in every game, but in Windows 98 time, that was a much bigger feat than it really sounds. So, us older gents, we're kind of spoiled, or we see it both ways. The younger kids out there, they just see this and they're like, oh. And now I feel like, when I saw that phone that wasn't attached to the wall, it's like, oh, this is amazing.
I can put it in my pocket and go to school. Snake?
Oh.
Yeah, I knew that would get you. Yeah.
The fact that they sold cases for Nokia brick phones, that was the greatest of all time. Anyways,
up front right now, I got to tell you though, we're sitting here making fun of everything and reminiscing, but I'll give these guys credit, and maybe it's because we just wrecked half of the top 12, but everybody seems to have already taken a chill pill, and I think last night it took us to about lap 60 before anybody did that. Yep. And then we chilled for 10 laps, and then we went YOLO again. So these guys right now are playing awfully nice. Wardlow's basically led this whole thing. I don't have to look if Ryan Otis has stuck his nose out in front for a lap or not, but George and Zaldo, Mark Cohn a little farther back. also
That's
going
that
at it.
second pack. So as the camera pans around, we had our initial pack of probably 9 cars floating around up there, and then there's a big about 3-second gap, 4 seconds or so, back to the second pack. And this is where we're seeing George Anzaldo, Bart Cohn, Chad Dalton, Scott Holmes, Chris Lanini, guys that are kind of notorious for kind of running at their own little pace here, knowing that these races aren't over in the first 5 minutes. I mean, they are if you do it wrong, but they are the kind of the long haul plays. So now the problem that these guys are going to run into, they are about 3/4 of a second slower than that first pack, being side by side stacked up like this.
Back to the leaders we go. Ryan Otis, Dustin Wardlow, Adam Young.
Adam Young, he
wants
must
to
have had
hang
some
out.
cat food. He's feeling frisky up there on the top, trying to take it 3 wide going into turn 1. Another 3 wide behind
David
him.
Altman. David Altman was like, how wide is this car? 3 feet? All I need is
Engineer would bust the tape measure out.
3.1 foot hole, and I'm there. He is a
And there we
Marine,
are.
right? So
That's true. 3 wide down the backstretch again, 3 wide into turn 3. Now that's where Adam is going to fall away there, is you don't get that good run from the top, and you can't really make it work. Down the front stretch. Yeah, down the front stretch, you can make it look really cool, but the problem is you go off into the corner with the lower horsepower, and there's just nothing really to support you. I mean, you could put your foot damn near through the whole firewall, and you're not making any more speed.
His better plan of attack here would be to be doing what he's doing right here. Gets this run down the back straight, but I would almost go into 3, and like right away I would just be cutting down and trying to. I'd want to be almost down behind Wardlow, get that run, and then start drifting up because Otis would give you the run as well. If that makes sense, you'd be towing off of 2 cars, but instead he's waiting until we get off of 4, and then all he's doing is tucking in behind Ryan and just getting right back where he was. I mean, really, Ron Hacker and David Altman are in really good spots here, so are Paul Jenkins. It's just I don't think anybody on lap 18 wants to see what it's like to be 4 wide. So
yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about on the top side of the broadcast, where you try and maximize those runs and get them where you can make them work for you and not work against you. And Adam up there, I mean, he's running by himself. He's getting some clean air to the front. That's fine. As we're going, this is my favorite camera view that we have here. We're hanging over. It reminds me of the old IndyCar cameras from like the mid-90s, Indy 500 broadcasts on ABC there. Just hanging off, and you can kind of see, yeah, you can go up here, and you can try to get a little bit of a run, but you just kind of, it's like it's interstate driving. You're just stuck. There's not really a spot for you to go. Dustin now hanging on that yellow line down there. He's kind of the Pied Piper of this place.
what do you Michiganders know about interstate driving?
Well, I mean, the Michigan International Speedway is the longest stretch of road in the state of Michigan without a pothole. That's a fact.
Except for halfway down the front straightaway in the infield, as I found out last night.
Well, if you'd have listened to me, you wouldn't have
Look,
found it.
how many times do we have to have this conversation about me and listening? Okay?
Joke makes itself there.
That was kind of the point.
Always looking around here. Adam Young still floating around up there. You got Ron Hacker floating around. That's just the thing. It's just kind of everybody's floating right now. We're on lap 20. We still got 80 laps to tick off here.
Adam needs Ted Baldwin to get up there.
He's trying to drive into the side there of Ron, and I can tell you that's not the best way to get around here.
Is that inadvisable, you think?
Very inadvisable. I've met Ron in person. The man has fists like hammers.
Speaking of Marines,
but you see, there's that camera
it's
angle.
almost like
You look back and you see that second pack there.
it's almost like Sean was reading my mind because I had already clicked back to look at the second pack, and he jumped in our ear and said,
Well,
"Second pack."
He's
that
trying.
rookie.
It's his first
rookie
time,
director.
so he's
yeah,
he's trying to impress
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, that's Mark Cohn. He's if you didn't know any better, you'd think he's leading the race, but he's actually back there in 10th place. Actually, Scott Holmes is in front of him now. Scott Holmes the blue car, then Mark the red and white car. The black and blue car is George Anzaldo, and up top is Chris Lanini, who I'm showing in like a red, white, and blue car, and I don't know that I've ever seen him in that.
Ooh, he's in a black and teal car.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got him switched. That's Finney.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Or that Paulson up there, and that kind of, it looks like that AMC Matador.
Oh, it is Paulson. You're right. I clicked through Paulson. You're right.
Ah.
Yeah. Chad Dalton, the black and red car.
This whole listen to me thing. You figure it out.
Okay, again. Let me introduce you to my wife, yes. Lap 23, we're actually coming up on a quarter of the way through this one. This pack back here, and I'd have to go back and look at the start and figure out why they're so spread out. But you got to feel for guys like Mark Cohn, who decided to come in and pit. I kind of felt like he came into pit for no reason.
You know what? While we're figuring this out, let me see if I can figure it. Let me see what I can sort out. I have a suspicion.
Oh boy!
I just want to see if my suspicion is right.
We can't wait. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to the leaders. Dustin Wardlow, Ryan Otis, Ron Hacker up top now. It's the blue car of Hacker. The throwback to the 90s Benetton cars.
It was what I thought it was.
Your suspicion is inaccurate?
No, it's very accurate. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to put drivers on blast. There was a driver that when the race restarted, he just did not go. And that's backed up that whole pack. So kind of like what we would see last night in the IndyCar race. So you kind of get that mid-pack and someone doesn't go. Maybe there's a checkup. Maybe there's a stack-up. Kind of like an accordion effect or a rubber band. And unfortunately, if you're on the opposite side of where you want to be, that's kind of what happens. You just kind of get hung out back here and, well, you just kind of make your own race as you can.
Just so you know, I can name 4 or 5 people that I know have a reputation like that.
I mean, the only person we're putting on blast tonight is rookie director Sean Ambrose.
Right, I'm not trying to put any of them on blast, just Sean.
Just Sean.
I would like to welcome Sean to the team here at GSRC, though. Great team. A lot of people behind the scenes that help out Joe and Amjad and Dougie. They could really use another,
He was voted 5th best director on GSRC, which is great.
Was he?
Except there's only 4 of them. So I don't quite, kind of like getting a Dundee award. Okay, that's great.
This is the golden raspberries of iRacing.
Yeah, something like that.
The Razzies.
Maybe I should just host a post-race show and call it the Yazzies, and it's just me making fun of. Well, it's going to be Sean Ambrose for 2 hours. Sorry, not going to spoil that for everybody, but that's what.
I'm wondering if does Sean have our retro track guide ready yet? I'm wondering.
He might.
Maybe we can get to that on the next commercial break.
Maybe commercial break will show that one.
Dustin Wardlow, Ryan Otis, Ron Hacker, Adam Young, David Altman's the yellow car up top. 6th place is Paul Jenkins, the black and gold car. Taft Baldwin, Mike Whitney, and David Clymer also in this pack. That's your front 9, and they have just absolutely left the second pack totally in the dust.
Altman was up there in kind of the high rent territory, swinging around that top lane, trying to make something work, but it's just kind of the same thing.
They're trying to paint the walls of MIS yellow.
I mean,
old place
strategy.
Let's see if it
for
pays.
all yellow.
He's looking at the stars. Is the problem.
Well, and the thing is, they're not shining for him.
Just for all the things he's doing.
Oh, they were all yellow.
Boy, I tell you what, that second group there up front, you're looking at Altman's car, but I don't mean the second group of cars. I mean the second line, I should say, there with Adam and Ron and Altman. They're not really doing a great job of following the leaders. And I realize it's not totally what you're supposed to do, but like when Dustin goes into the corner and goes to the apron and Adam's behind him and goes in behind Ryan, it sure puts Ron and David in a precarious spot.
It does. I mean, especially with the ground effects that these cars generate, it doesn't quite have that stability that maybe they're used to from the IndyCar side of things. So you get somebody up there and especially Altman kind of running that higher lane. If you're not quite expecting it or you're not trying to make it work, to your advantage, it's kind of a little off-putting because now, and you're seeing it there where he's got to kind of weave back and forth a little bit down the back stretch and the front stretch to kind of try and stifle that run. Meanwhile, Adam Young running the very bottom of the track, sniffing in the draft of Dustin Wardlow and Ryan Otis. He's basically kind of keeping up right with this thing as they're still trying to go 3 wide to settle it out for second spot.
Whoa. Boy, Ron and David were kind of sliding across each other's nose there. That's up there, camera left. Sean panning around off the gearbox of Dustin Wardlow. Boy, Dustin's out there just like on a Sunday cruise right now, too. I'm just going to go ahead and roll around on the bottom. Ryan Otis can hang out up top.
Ooh, Adam Young he kind of cleared himself there. He went from the bottom back up to the top. And you've heard me in Discord during a race say clear-ish. That was that scenario right there. He kind of was clear-ish. And luckily, Ron Hacker decided the benefit or the discretion was the better part of valor and decided to let him in. Now, if we get to 8 laps to go, that might be a different story.
Now, because I'm a terrible lead commentator on this deal and decided to spend a couple of days touring the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia after my obligations to the National Hot Rod Association last weekend, I have not gone back to rewatch last year's race. But if I do recall correctly, Yaz, I believe that you and I, maybe not you, but I believe that I was on the outside of Dan Guerin up front, and you were like right behind us, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we went down the front straightaway, kind of like what you're seeing right now, and then like all heck broke loose right about there. So
yeah, I want to say something like that happened. I know looking back
like
at the notes,
Cody thing or something, but I just remember that the first 3 cars were 3 wide, and I was up top, and we went boom. Hey, Sean Ambrose, feeling really good about the second pack right now. So we're gonna
take a look at that second pack.
This is a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
That's Scott Holmes out in front of this pack. That's 10th place. Actually,
in relation to John, I believe, right?
Who is John Holmes?
Google that one later. Maybe.
All right. Is it related? No relation to Larry, right?
No.
John Jacob Wilheimer Smith. This is what we do here on the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Bud Kicker. Sean Ambrose's spidey senses didn't pay off. Another rookie mistake by Sean tonight.
Meanwhile, up front, 3x3. Oh, 4 wide. Going into turn 1.
It's lap 36.
Yeah, why not send it?
David Altman. Yep.
Now, we are probably about 5 or 6 laps away from pit stall. So, Dustin, he's going to be at a good spot because you guarantee he's not coming off the bottom. That's just not going to happen. But now, if you're Otis or you're Young, Altman, guys that have been kind of running up there in that high rent district, you're going to have to make a choice at some point. And you're going to have to get low like Lil Jon and get down to basically get to pit road. So I guess, do you try to get yourself up there like Altman's trying to do and weave through there? Or do you just sacrifice some spot and maybe try to gain it on pit entry?
That's a good question. Look, I think in this case, being teammates is going to be incredibly advantageous. So, for instance, up front, you have the first 3 cars right now are all on Raven Motorsports. Pittman, pitting.
Altman.
Thought it was David. David Altman just
that's that yellow car right there. I mean, that's right at the end of that. So,
boy, I got to tell you, David Altman should get really familiar with names like Mark Cohn and Chad Dalton and Scott Holmes because that's who he's going to end up racing with after pitting by himself.
Well, we'll see. Sometimes, I mean, I know that right now the front pack is probably running their best laps of the race, or very close to it.
Well,
But
our
I mean,
fuel
as we
numbers
saw,
that were provided must be way off, by the way,
well,
because we had a yellow and we're pitting
oh,
on
and here
lap
comes
39.
everybody else.
I mean,
Dustin, woo,
everybody.
that was. Dustin hit the line well above 55 miles an hour. And let's see if the game's going to give him a kind of
It's a
chance
sim,
at
yes.
that.
It's a sim.
So the sim.
I had Dustin Wardlow, just for the record, at 79 miles per hour when he which is a little bit quicker than 55. So we'll have to watch that here.
The
All these
Hacker's
cars still
rolling.
on pit
Otis is
road, boy.
rolling. Everybody's rolling except the 9.
And that is a hold in your pit stall penalty on the way in. And we are holding in our pit stall. I'd like to retract my statement about David Altman, because Dustin Wardlow, who just got released, is also going to become great friends with Scott Holmes and Mark Cohn and everybody else who just pit right now, ironically.
Well, now Mark Cohn is kind of leading the guys that have not pit. Now, remember, they stopped.
They did, yes.
On that first caution, so they can stretch this a couple laps. So now this is where the strategy gets really fun in these cars, because these guys are going to be flying around this track. Light fuel, tires are at their optimal temperature. The guys that just came off of pit road, they're going to be heavy and lumbering on fuel and Mark Cohn pits.
He gets it slowed down.
You can tell by the tone in my voice, I'm genuinely surprised at that.
So it's Finian, Chad Dalton, and Chris Lanini, who have not pit yet. Chris Lanini, by the way, who just went around Chad Dalton on the outside.
Sniffing a little bit of draft off of Paulson, I believe, up there. So yeah, Chris Lanini in that 92 machine. Is he going to stay? He's going to stay out. All right. So by comparison, and the point that I was trying to make there, they're running 37, very low 37s. Lanini that last time, 37.23, 37.35, 37.26. Let's go back to Otis. Last lap. Well, he's just getting ready up to speed. No, he wasn't. 37.42. So they are faster, but I don't think they're fast enough, because if I'm not mistaken, the gap was about 6 seconds before they started pitting. I believe it was. I'll finish my own sentence.
I was communicating with league administrators.
Oh.
Taft Baldwin. Taft Baldwin and JP Winshittle are both coming back to pit road, and I wonder if that means that they exited too soon. Chad Dalton on pit road out of the lead, by the way.
Yep. And you got Chris Lanini still running it up there, 37 flat, 36.82. Yeah, these cars just sing at the end of it.
Robert Balloon gonna take a look at this. Chris Lanini is about to pit out of the lead, and here's Robert Bluin.
Just woo! All right.
Oh, Robert.
That's one way to get there.
Okay, yeah. Hey, he didn't speed.
Nope. Chris Lanini on pit road.
Chad Dalton staying out with Finian right behind him.
And Chad Dalton announcing he's pitting. I wonder if maybe it was a box infraction and why they're having to come back to pit road.
That's a good point.
In the Lionheart Series, both IndyCar and Retro, you are permitted 3 boxes in and 3 boxes on exit. And it's there's no rule of no margin for error on that. So now, pretty much everybody's going to cycle around. Lanini's not going to be up at the top pack. He's going to be kind of running by himself, but he's going to pick up Mark Cohn.
Man, Dustin Wardlow's penalty, yeah. By the time this is all said and done, Dustin Wardlow is going to have gone from leading every lap, or basically every lap, to the 18th position. And he's going to be 12 seconds behind the second pack.
Yeah, definitely going to be needing a caution.
Scott Holmes, by the way, also, I believe, fell victim to being held on pit road because he was about 7 seconds behind the leaders when he pit, and he's now about 7 seconds behind Dustin Wardlow, which would coincide with getting identical penalties. So Scott Holmes, for as bad as Dustin Wardlow's night got, at least he has Cody Eldred in front of him and Paul Jenkins and Eric Block to work with, and maybe they go catch Travis Egerleiner and Little Train and put something together. Scott Holmes is 22 seconds back of the leader and on an island.
Kind of not the spot you necessarily want to be in at that position. Get a little bit of cloud cover here as the dynamic sky is coming into effect. Not going to be a big swing here, but it does make the cars pop out just a little bit more. Altman trying to run that high lane, and Ron Hacker says, okay, you want to leave that through there, I'm just going to take that spot. So now move Ron Hacker up to the second spot.
Ryan Otis, meanwhile, racking up bonus points now. So now he's got points for leading the lap, and he's in a position, theoretically, to lead the most laps as you're on board with David Clymer here.
Yeah, he could. If he led, Dustin probably led 40 just for the sake of ease. Yeah, he very well could if he runs this one out. But David Altman's got a run coming from the bottom and just nowhere to go. Just kind of like a free-falling elevator, and then eventually he just hit the floor.
The wall, the floor, they're all immovable objects.
The window, back over to the wall.
Don't tell Pierre that. Wow. Sometimes I really wish the viewers at home could hear our director.
I wish that there was
that
like a
moment
satellite.
Was one of them.
You can just hear. Maybe that's just for us. All right. Anyways.
Hey, while we're making inside jokes at mid-2000s rap songs, do you know who came out of what I believed was retirement, but I guess it really wasn't, so we'll call it irrelevance, to open the Kern County Bakersfield Fair last night?
I know this because he also headlined the Traverse City, Michigan Cherry Festival. That is
no way.
I'm dead serious.
Wow.
Like the local radio stations were hyped up. They were giving tickets away. This was a big deal.
They were giving tickets out to the Cherry Festival concert.
For Nelly.
Man. Boy, things have fallen far for Nelly, huh? By the way, I was a big Nelly fan back in like the 10th grade.
Did you drive the black SS with the navigation?
I had Jeff Gordon, yeah.
Oh,
oh, David Altman. Meanwhile, David Altman must be listening to the broadcast. He's like, hey, let's change things up here.
No.
Let me just almost wreck everybody.
You know what I think he was listening to there? I think he was listening to Rage Against the Machine, Bulls on Parade, because he was definitely going at that like a bull in a china shop. But now that loss of momentum takes him from the second spot all the way back to fifth. And Ron Hacker up there in second going, okay, we're going to try that again. You just know that didn't work.
Well, you look at the drivers up here. What are we talking about in pre-race? Yeah, has nobody that has won this race. Oh, Ryan Otis left the door open and Adam Young. Choo-choo.
Forever Young going to the bottom, finally getting one of those moves to work.
Boy, that's going to end up being a move I think Ryan Otis really regrets.
Yeah, but Otis got that big run back on the top side, so he's been able to at least defend for that moment, but Adam Young is not going anywhere. side by side down the backstretch. Adam Young down below. Altman's.
I was just going to say, David Altman wants to be 3 wide.
He's making a party all by himself. He's listening to Adele in the car. Hello from the inside. We're going to take it 3 wide. It was a B-side track. Didn't really get big. It was big in Uzbekistan. Never really crossed the water to get over here to the States.
Is there water in Uzbekistan?
I mean, there's water between here and Uzbekistan if you look at the globe.
It's a bold statement.
Not as bold as our rookie director, Sean Ambrose, looking over the top of the car right there. Adam Young falling back out. And look at that! Altman finally making it work.
That's a great camera shot for Sean's first race.
Yeah, it is. Give this lap, ladies and gentlemen. He's been trying his damnedest for 55 laps. Altman finally leads the lap here at Michigan.
Pull one out for you Pittsburgh Pirates fans.
Oh.
David Altman is one of you. It's been generally a poor season for the Pirates, and then this week happened.
It got a lot worse.
By the way, David Clymer to the lead.
The Indy winner is saying, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I want to continue to win. That was fun." Looking out the back there.
You think Pittsburgh sports fans, like 2 weeks ago, were like, guys, it can't get much worse than this, right? Like, the Pirates are in last, and the Steelers got curb stomped by the Patriots on opening night, and people in Pittsburgh were like, yeah, it can't possibly get worse. And then fast forward it like 8 days later, and you're like, oh.
It's that old adage, just when you think it can't get worse, it just did.
Oh, boy. Adam Young way up the track there on Ron Hacker. Ryan Otis, meanwhile, has gone from in the catbird seat to in a position I would never want to be in. He's 5th amongst the lead pack of 5, and the other 4 cars are just in full send.
Yeah, but, you know, there's a reason he's leading the points. And it's kind of like what we talked about at Indy. He's being smart. You know, you get up there right now, there's a really good chance of wrecking your race and throwing points away. Right now, he's driving probably the best I've ever seen him. He's 3 wide in front of him. So, at this point in the race, you still have 44 laps to go. Why push it right now? You know, trying to get the lead back immediately, all in one shot's not going to do you any good. Now, getting that run to the bottom, working his way back through. And is he going to get the same move? He's going to try to do the same move that Adam Young pulled on him. But all the draft looks like it's to the top. Altman, though, is going to try and take it 3 wide off of the corner. That should give the advantage to the middle. Adam Young trying to defend that move, and he's just going to kind of float into the corner there and give the bottom to Ryan Otis. There you see out front, still 3, just dancing side by side. Everybody's trading it around. Just lead pack of 5 cars. You've got David Clymer back there in that spot. Now that second pack that we've kind of talked about throughout the night, they've made some inroads. They're not there yet. Mark Cohn is kind of the leader of that second pack as we're going to shoot back there. So there you see that second pack of Mark Cohn, Chris Lanini, Chad Dalton, Mike Rigney, Finian Ducana, George Anzaldo, who started tail end Charlie. So those guys right there, that's kind of that second pack. Now, before the pit stop, previously they were about 6 seconds back. Now they're about 4. So through the cycle of that, they have made up some ground. But ultimately, what I think it's going to boil down to, they are going to need a caution to make that gap up fully. Because it looks like up front, they're running 3 by 3, 3 wide all day. And it's not really creating a gap because you're seeing David Clymer kind of fall off the back of that lead pack. See, Otis still trying to make the bottom work.
Working lap 61 now, so we are officially 3/5 of the way through this race as we drop back to the 13th position.
There's the unlucky 13th right now for Dustin Wardlow back there. still running that bottom, making it work. But unfortunately, when he was up there in the lead, and then there's that just getting over aggressive on pit road just burned him.
Wardlow leading that pack, and then also has Paul Jenkins, his championship adversary, in second in points right now. Eric Block, Lionel Kalisto, Cody Eldred, Travis Yeager-Leonard. Scott Holmes, meanwhile, has been unable to make up even a half a second on Travis Yeager-Leonard. He's 9 seconds back of this pack in 19th after being the leader of the second pack before his penalty.
Still battling up front. You've got Ryan Otis leading, Adam Forever Young wanting it, and you got David Altman just putting that car wherever he can to try to get himself into the right spot. There you see, shoving it up through the middle, getting that big run, and trying to go somewhere with it, but then you just run into the corner and just don't have the oomph to make it work on that top side.
Kind of a weird deal here because we've got two, I don't want to call them small packs, but they're like mediocre packs, and so it's hard to really get 3 or 4 cars lined up together. Ryan Otis reassuming the race lead over Adam Young and David Altman, Ron Hacker, and David Clymer. And of the cars in that first pack, only Ryan Otis has won a retro race. Ron Hacker also won an IndyCar race. No, he didn't. Wait. I got myself confused. Robert Blumen has won an IndyCar race. Boy, just one winner up front. It's bad news for Otis, right, Yaz?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Boys.
Second pack.
Hang on
What
to
are
it.
y'all doing? Dustin Wardlow and company, and it looked like they were all going for a ride. Jumping back up to the lead pack and Ron Hacker.
Hacker's just, everybody's just watching this chaos go down. Altman is just a man possessed trying to get that win. He's just trying to rustle the lead away from Otis, but it's just, at this point in the race, it's just not quite getting there. He needs a little bit of help, and he could kind of pull some maneuvers and probably get up there. He doesn't quite have enough oomph, kind of like we were talking about in the corners. Just, he gets that run, and then gets up there and stalls out, and then Hacker just splits the middle on him. George Ronzaldo on pit road. Pit window is open. That's a little earlier than I would have expected as well. Unless he's trying
We're in the window, though.
He's going to be real heavy on fuel, but be real light at the end of it. So it could be an interesting gamble to see where that shakes down. Still 3 wide up front. This is some phenomenal racing up there in the front of this pack between.
Boy, more pit stops starting to come. Here we
Yeah.
go. George Gonzalo open the floodgates. Ron Hacker and Ryan Otis teammates are both coming this time.
And that should get, that's going to open that up, but let's see. Otis getting that big stretch ahead. Smart. Whoo, holding on to it, buddy. Think he got it woed down.
Boy, Ron Hacker really made up some ground, though, because of it.
Well, I think Otis, again, being a very savvy driver, realized his spot right now, from the point standings and what he can gain. And, the final pit stop, just try to make it work. David Altman announcing he's going to be coming to pit road this time by. That is very early, though, from the numbers that we were given. Oh, you're going to have Adam Young kind of out there by himself. And now what I'm looking at is the second pack again. That's Mark Cohn, Chris Lanini, and those guys that we were kind of talking about earlier. These guys are going to be real light on fuel, and their job now is to run probably the next 10 laps as hard as they can to try to make up as much room. Because if they can come off pit road a second and a half back, they could probably pull themselves back up there.
Well, and I was also going to say the longer that they run, that's the less fuel they have to take. And in this car, that matters a lot because you don't take tires. And so you're just sitting waiting for your pit crew to go. And if they can shave a second off on pit road and fuel, and then another half second off on the track, suddenly you have caught the lead pack, which would just be remarkable for those cars to be able to do that.
Ron Hacker back on pit road.
That can only be a penalty for Ron Hacker.
I didn't hear anything come across any means that I knew of. Huh. All right.
Hacker off. Back to the leaders. Adam Young is the current leader.
Yeah, but he's all by himself out there.
It's a song by somebody, right?
It is.
I'll spare you. I'll spare you.
Yeah, we will spare
But part of the rookie director initiation requires Sean Ambrose to have to come.
And he is singing it because, you know, in the production truck down there, he is all by himself.
My ears are bleeding. People at home still have no idea why.
Yeah.
Boy, look at this great group of cars that you're seeing on your screen. Mark Cohn, Chris Lanini, and Mike Rigney, and
Lanini
a whole bunch
getting
of
a good
them.
run there.
7 cars.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this lead pack has trimmed off over a second on Adam Young in 3 laps.
It's about to be 1.5. I mean, you look at the lap times. Adam Young ran a 37.40. Mark Cohn, 37.16. Chris Lanini, 37.14, 37.13, 37.15, 37 flat. I mean, that's the lap times that these guys are running back there. That's just carving that out. And Adam's trying to stretch this. Now, Adam could come out in the good side because if he does fall back to the second pack, it's not the end of the world because I feel like the second pack is going to be a lot closer to the lead this go around than they were the last time. I mean, if we look at, once again, you look at Ryan Otis, 37.29 versus these leaders running 15s. That's a tenth of a second. So it's chipping away at it. It's going to be a lot closer than they were, though. They need a couple laps where they gain probably 2 or 3 tenths, maybe even half a second. You rip off one of those, and you're really in the ballpark.
We are coming up on the final 25 laps in this one. Final quarter of this 100-lap race. It is the Plasma Tracks 200, Michigan International Speedway. If you're just tuning in, I'm Jason Galvin. The one doing most of the talking is Brian Yazik. He's much more knowledgeable than I am. The one doing a lot of the talking in our ears and none on the air is Sean Ambrose, doing an admirable job in his first performance as a director. And that's your leader, Adam Young, on pit road. So Adam Young pits.
Yeah,
Mark Cohn will inherit the lead. And we'll see where Adam Young comes out now is the real question.
I'll be curious to see when this lead pack right now decides to pit.
Dustin Wardlow
with Adam going out there. Now, and the other fun ripple to this, Mark Cohn has 4 more laps than Chris Lanini. Remember, Lanini ran that tank real dry the last time. And Dustin Wardlow on pit road, he's playing the card that he's got right now.
Boy, and I got to tell you what, Dustin Wardlow, we got to watch because he crossed the line that time, Yaz. 67 miles an hour.
Woo.
And so now we count. 4, 5, 7, 8. He's out. Okay.
All right.
Oh boy. So Dustin kind of stole one that time.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 8-second pit stop. Otis was almost a 9, 8.9. Otis was around 8. Timer.
Does 8 not seem long at this point of the race to you, with just
It does,
25 laps to go?
but when you
24.
compare it to what's around, it falls in line perfectly. Quickest pit stop, just looking up the board, I'm seeing Scott Holmes at a 6.8. Oh, Mark Cohen on pit road. Didn't quite get that signal out fast enough because that did kind of give Lanini a scare, because now Lanini is going to lose the lead to Chad Dalton.
Be curious now to watch Mark Cohn, who was accompanied
Where
to
does
pit
he
road.
blend?
Mike Rigney was the other car that came with him. Mike Rigney was the exact opposite of Dustin Wardlow. Boy, Mark Cohn was 70 plus when he hit pit road, it looked like. Sometimes iRacing's pretty forgiving to you here.
Not that time.
Mark Cohn is sitting on pit road. And just like Dustin Wardlow, bad boys, what you gonna do? So Mark Cohn, the second race leader to fall victim to a speeding penalty on entrance. And again, Yaz and I have talked about it. There are some tracks where that really, really matters, and here it just doesn't seem like there's a need to push it. Like, you're not gonna get so far out in front that you break the draft and cruise. There's just no way. So now Mark Cohn joins Dustin Wardlow and Scott Holmes in the "There's all sorts of debris on the racetrack" club.
Raining frogs in turn 2.
And we are meanwhile coming up on 20 laps to go when they come around this time.
Now Otis is about 29 seconds back of the lead. I'm going to say that he's probably going to come out with the lead, but he is going to be much heavier on fuel than some of these guys right here. Your pit road delta, without timing it, I want to probably say is around 30 to 33 seconds. That's, coming down pit road, stopping at your box and going. What was the delta? 32.7. All right. So right now he's going to come out with about a 3-second lead. And worth noting too, David Clymer is the only car that's really hanging with him. Adam Young is about 2 or 3 seconds back.
The other thing, Yaz, is that the pit delta is only counting cone to cone.
That's very true. And here we go.
I think Ryan Otis is going to end up with a hornet's nest around him the way this is working out. As you look at pit road, and here's Chris Lanini and Finian and Chad Dalton are all on pit road.
Little Train, Kalisto, Cody Eldred, they're staying out.
All three are out clean. Finian jumps Chris Lanini on pit road.
Now, where's Otis in comparison to that? Otis is coming. He's going to hit the line now.
And now you wonder if some of these guys either just couldn't do the math on imperial gallons, or if Finian went too short based on how they came off pit road.
Yeah.
Let's see how Ryan Otis does.
Otis has got it cleared. He's set sail midway down the back. Eldred right now, your leader. I'm going to talk about him for a minute.
Cody right now stuck in a group with Little Train and Mark Cohn. Little Train's in second. Mark Cohn trying to stay on the lead lap. Cody Eldred to pit road. He brings Lionel with him. That's going to cycle our pit stops. And Ryan Otis will be the leader, we believe.
Should be. I got my eyes on Otis. He just went into turn 3. Now we all got our eyes on there.
I'm keeping an eye on Lionel.
Yeah, they're
Cody.
still sitting. They're still stationary.
Still
and
in
here
their
goes Otis.
stall. New leader, Ryan Otis, your points leader to the point.
I'd say re-leader.
16 laps to go. And this race, for all intents and purposes, is basically a 3-car show now.
Well, and the other thing worth noting, that third car in that pack back there, that's Ron Hacker. He is a lap down because of that extra pit stop. So really, the first and second are right there. And let's jump back to P3. Great battle. Chad Dalton, Adam Young. This is where things could get very interesting. It's only about a 2-second gap. And if the time works out, if the lap times work, it's going to be very close at the end of this. The math that I'm using here, it's about a 2/10 of a second advantage for Dalton and Adam Young, Vinny and Ducana, over Ryan Otis. So, 2/10 versus 10 laps. There's kind of your gap that we're kind of playing with. We're on board with Vinny in here. And that gap is right at 2 seconds right now. Last time by, it's closing big time. Otis, 37-31. Chad Dalton, 37 flat. Adam Young, 37 flat. Finian, 37 flat. So as the laps wind down, the wick is getting turned up here.
Finian, by the way, our biggest mover in this race, up 20 spots, and currently has that award over Chad Dalton and Chris Lanini, who both gained 19. Shoutouts to George Anzaldo and Eric Block, who are both up 14. Travis Jägerlinder's up 12. And a lot of big swings as far as positions in this race go. Mark Cohn, that penalty on pit road, all the way down in 17th right now for Cohn. Dustin Wardlow has rebounded a little bit. He is up in the 9th spot, leading the biggest pack of cars on the track, and Mike Rigney is who he has his set sight on to be his next victim.
1.7, another lap down. So yeah, Otis is going to find himself. He better enjoy the gap he's got right now, because it's going to be short-lived. Because that pack of 3 is going to catch him, and I don't believe pace-wise, Altman and Lanini, I don't think you're going to be able to get caught up to the back of that second pack and then get themselves back up here to that lead pack. So I would say with that gap closing the way it is, we get to 5 to go. This is going to get very, very interesting.
I almost wonder if you don't want to try to go earlier just to know where you're at. You don't want to be limited to just one shot to try to get out front.
Well, I mean, it's just looking at the lap time. They're going to come with a head of steam, and they're going to have to find a gap to exist in. Now, Clymer, it's not like at Daytona and Talladega in the A cars on iRacing. And there you see that long range shot. You can really see that second pack closing in. You can't just pull out and block and try to steal that run. If you try to pull out, that second pack is going to drive right around you, which is just going to exacerbate the problem that you're going to have.
Coming up on 10 laps to go. Here in the Plasma Tracks 200, we have had one caution so far. It came in the opening laps of this race due to a net code contact that sent Ken Hacker spinning and took 4 or 5 of the race cars with him. And since that moment, everybody has just said, let's play nice. And they followed suit.
Nice is going to end here real quick.
I'm not talking about a no-hitter, Sean. We already had a caution.
Oof.
Sean Ambrose in our chat asked if I was talking about the no-hitter. Look, I was at an Angels game in July, and I brought up that they were no-hitting the other team in the 5th inning, and they still had the no-hitter. So I'm the anti-Kirk. Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Now, remind me, Otis and Hacker are teammates, no?
Otis and Ron are teammates, yes. Separate
Okay.
separate teams, but same organization.
Yeah.
Both
So
Raven Motorsports.
Otis has a friend as the second pack
He's
is
got
kind
a
of
friend
winding
in
up.
you. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does, Woody. Now, who's going to be the Buzz Lightyear here and really try to just blast their way up through the field?
Ron's car kind of looks like Buzz Lightyear.
It does. But Unfortunately, that netcode earlier sent those drivers to infinity and beyond.
Boy, we have just been all full of that.
Second pack is here. 8 laps to go. 16 miles, and that second pack has arrived with a head of steam.
Ryan Otis looking in his mirror right now going, why couldn't this have been a 90-lap race?
I was all by myself.
The perfect distance for a retro race, guys. 90, maybe 92.
Yeah.
All right. Suddenly business is picked up with 7 laps to go. Coming to lap 94, let's reset things. That's Ryan Otis, red and white, Roger Penske, throwback tribute car, your points leader on the bottom. Chad Dalton, the rookie in the middle.
3 wide going into the turn. Adam Young trying to run it up top. Had kind of nowhere to go that time, but he could be trying to make it work. Now, the other thing that we talked about, friends and teammates, those cars right there, second and third, I believe they are teammates, just judging by the
if you're wondering why they look so similar, that's David Clymer in the black car with red, and
red car with black.
Dalton in the red car with black, and then Adam Young up top with the wood paint. Nose up there is Finian trying to go 3 wide. Then you have the lap car of Ron Hacker, who's in that Michael Schumacher first world championship car throwback.
Benetton.
Is it Benetton? Yes, Sean. Pour one out.
This is going to be it. No one else is going to get back up there. The next car back behind this lead pack is David Altman, 5.8 seconds back. So your winner is going to come from this pack. I mean, if you're Otis, you know this bottom is where you've been making your money all night. But that time right there, if the race was over, that would have been David Clymer.
I think we're on lap 96. I do believe
point of no return.
That we are to the point of no return. If not, we certainly will be
this
time.
Bill will be.
No question about that. So these are your 5 cars that are going to sort it out. And Ron Hacker, who's a lap down, is just kind of cruising out saying, I want to watch.
I want to see this. This is going to be cool. Oh, Adam Young!
Adam Young and David Clymer nearly bounced off each other.
Now Adam Young trying to reset, get himself back in it. That's going to put Finian up one more spot.
And we got a lap car that's about to just end up right smack in the middle of this, by the way.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way, Taft.
Baldwin, by the way, who has teammate Adam Young in the middle of
run and hide, Taft.
Taft does. Well, I'm a little surprised he didn't go way up top and give Adam the run.
Because that just would have backfired going into the corner.
Adam got a nice run anyways.
Yeah, now Finian and Adam, it's the battle of the broadcasters back there. Adam broadcast for the Global SimRacing Channel, and you got that Sim TV right there for Finian.
Finian now drops back to 5th. Chad Dalton up to 3rd. Dalton behind his teammate Clymer. Look at David Clymer trying to squeeze Ryan Otis, and here comes Adam Young to the outside of Dalton now.
Definitely the point of... Oops, sorry.
To say the problem is Young doesn't have a lot of drafting help.
And he does. If he's going to win this race from up there, he's got to make it. He's committed to making it work on his own.
Coming around to lap 99.
2 laps to go. Adam Young going to try taking it 3 wide up to the top.
Look at Adam
turn
Young
1.
Sticking his nose out in front too, but he cannot get that wide into 1. And I know that's tough because you know the 2 cars under you. But if you want to win this race and you're Adam Young, you've got to try to squeeze a little bit. Well, and here comes Dalton as well.
It's tempting because you think you can get that big wide arc on entry and get a big run, but it's not going to quite work. I think the battle here coming to the white flag is going to be between Otis, Clymer, Dalton. Everybody's going to touch. One more time around. Are they going to make it?
With the run, and Adam Young throws the block. White flag, 1.5 miles left as they come off of turn 2.
Oh, Adam Young with a wiggle.
Down. Well, I tell you what, Chad Dalton with a big run behind his teammate Clymer to the outside, 3 wide. 1 mile to go. Into turn 3. Ryan Otis trying to hold on. Adam Young. Young almost got into Dalton. Climber to the outside of Otis. Here's the drag race to the stripe. Who's it gonna be to win at Michigan?
Woo! I don't know. It says Otis.
David Climber.
I got Otis winning it by .002. That is.
Look at this one again. My scoring reset to Climber and then changed back to Otis. And here's another look.
That's got to be the closest finish in Lionheart history, period, across both divisions. That's got to be the closest.
I mean, good luck separating this.
All of you fans, go out there and submit this clip to iRacing's top 10 that they do, their little videos for the month of September. Here you go, that big head of steam off of the corner. Otis going to the apron, trying to maximize all of his room. Climber running through the middle. Oh, golly.
Ryan Otis won that race
Wow.
by the length that the nose cone sticks out in front of the front wing. And I mean, that is the only thing that won Ryan Otis in that butt kicker HPP car this race. What a finish! Let's hear from the participants. After this, a word from our sponsors.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for a breast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaw.
Welcome back to the Michigan International Speedway. Smokes. I hope you didn't blink or snooze or walk away or anything. Have a computer, net code, anything that prevented you from seeing the end of that one. Wowzers. Ryan Otis, your victor in tonight's Plasma Tracks 200, officially going as 3 1,000ths of a second. I do believe that is rounded up from like 28 10,000ths of a second, which is unheard of in anything other than like super comp drag racing. Ryan Otis beats David Clymer. Chad Dalton comes home third. Finian DeCunha comes home in fourth. Adam Young in fifth. Then it's David Altman, Chris Lanini. Dustin Wardlow managed to rebound from that first pit stop penalty to finish eighth. Mike Rigney and Georgian Zaldo with top 10s on back-to-back nights. Brian?
11th going to James Paulson with Paul Jenkins in the 12th spot. 13th to Lionel Little Train Callisto. Eric Block 14th. 15th to Cody Eldred. Travis Jagerliner in 16th with Mark Cohn in 17th. 18th to Scott Holmes. Ron Hacker 19th. First car one lap down. Taft Baldwin rounding out the top 20.
21st, Robert Bloom got a little bit of damage on that early race crash. JP Winchittle didn't have the greatest night, 22nd. Then one of the cars that were involved in that crash on lap 4, Mike Belier, Frank Bieser, Dean Mardi Gras Mall. It all started when Ken Hacker went netcode crazy in the middle of the corner and got turned, and then Joshua Gaiman and Tyson Landis. That was kind of like a pick a spot, any spot out of a hat, or flip a coin to figure out where those cars were going to be. All right, let's talk to our winner, and I have to say, 2/3 of the way through the season with 2 drop weeks involved after this one, Ryan Otis, I think you are now clearly, if you weren't already, the runaway favorite for the championship. But I know you weren't thinking about points over those last couple of laps there. Everybody's been telling you for years that you're Ryan Otis, you're superstar on a road course, but you got to find a way to win on an oval, and holy smokes, did you do it tonight. 3 thousandths of a second. How long did it take you to figure out you won this race?
I think I was actually coming out of turn 2, still looking at the display, and I wasn't even sure if I was first or second because it was showing me second initially when I went across the line. So wow, that was intense. I'm still trying to catch my breath. That was crazy.
You spent the better part of the end of that race just holding the bottom, basically hoping and praying that you could win a drag race to the finish line. What were those last 10 laps or so like once that other group caught you?
Yeah, that really concerned me when they caught me because I was trying to put in solid laps, but then the fuel load got light enough there at the end where you can just hug the bottom, and that ends up being the fastest way around. I knew that in a drag race to the line up on the banking that the guy in the middle would cross the line more often than not in first, but I also knew that with the way the rules are set up, you can take the apron to the line on the last lap. So that was my plan. Staying on the bottom was to try to cut a little distance on the apron, and boy, I guess it just barely worked out.
Another flawless race for you as well. I mean, you're kind of a tactician. You run a lot of autocross stuff in real life, and I got to imagine that when it comes to repetitiveness and focus, that has to translate really well to what we do here, and just not making mistakes. And a lot of the cars that you compete with for wins and championships had issues tonight that were self-inflicted, and you just every week seem to come out here and just kind of go through the motions, don't make any mistakes, and come to the end of the race, it's like, hey, what's Ryan Otis doing up there? But that wasn't the case tonight. You had speed from the beginning. How confident were you coming into this race here at Michigan that you were going to be able to come out here and compete for a win?
I was feeling pretty good about it. I had put in a lot of laps earlier in the week and felt like I had a pretty good idea how the car was going to behave in traffic, because that's really the main thing here is trying to figure out what you can do in traffic and what you can't. And for the first 2/3 of the race, kind of my strategy is to just try to stay out of trouble. there's some people dicing it up, and if somebody wants to lead more than me, they can they can have it early on. But my plan all along is to at least try to be there at the end, and at least try to get a top. My plan going in was to try to get a top 5 really on the ovals, but boy, this one sure worked out, so I was pretty happy with it.
You talk about trying to stay clean. I don't know if you realize this or not, or how much you look at the stats. But just 1.75 incident points per race. You are, by a hefty margin, the cleanest driver in the Lionheart Retro Series this year, especially of the drivers that have run full time. So pretty spectacular what you've been able to do so far. You open up a 150-point lead, which at this point in the season, we're talking about nearly a 3-race lead in a series that drops 2 races at the end of the year. How are you feeling about your championship hopes as we turn around coming off of Michigan and head to Iowa next week?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like this is a good place to be, but it's certainly, obviously, it's not over. A lot can happen, and there's several races left, so it is a pretty long season. So I'm just gonna try to stay focused and do the best I can.
4 more road courses in those final 6-2 have to bode well for you. Ryan, congratulations. What an incredible finish. Go crack a cold one, bud.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks, guys.
Ryan Otis, your winner. Brian, who you got?
We've got David Clymer. David, you needed about another 30 foot of racetrack. If this place was set up like Talladega, you would have won this race. So talk us through that run to the line.
I was hoping I could keep it nice and tight next to Ryan, but it started getting a little loose on me. I got a little scared. I ain't gonna lie. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, wait, a race like this, I just need to finish. I don't need to do anything crazy. And I would have liked to win, but more than happy to finish second behind Ryan Otis.
Yeah, I mean that would have been 2 in a row for you. You got your first win back at Indy. When we kind of got a little break there, and then you come back and you finish second. I mean, you're kind of building some momentum. So, I mean, talk us through, it was kind of getting loose. We can kind of see a couple guys squirreling. So was it the kind of the usual Lotus 79 that we're all kind of accustomed to up here, where you get that low fuel hot tires and it gets real squirrely?
Yeah, totally. I even took a little extra fuel to try to combat it getting a little squirrely, and it didn't really help. Like a couple times, like the last 5 laps, a couple times I felt it stepping out on me a little bit. So I was just hoping the last lap it would stick, and I was like, you know what? I just need to finish. I ain't doing anything stupid. I mean, I tried to get by him, but I just couldn't push any harder without looping it.
Well, like I said, you just needed just a little bit more racetrack, and you would have got there.
I hear you.
So now we go from one of the biggest tracks on the circuit from the oval side to one of the shortest one next time out at Iowa. How do you feel about your short track program?
I feel good. I feel like I'm finally figuring things out on the ovals. It's taken me a while. I thought I'd pick it up quicker, but it's taken me half the season to get the hang of it. I'm starting to get ideas what to do and what not to do. I definitely know what not to do, but I'm still learning.
Sounds good. We will catch you on down the road next week. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
second place, and kind of commiserations for your second place finish, being that close to it.
I hear you. Yeah, it is funny how, like, I was mad I didn't win, and I was like, wait a second, I just finished second. How am I mad right now?
iRacers out there, take note of David's attitude. That's a solid attitude. It's very refreshing to hear, especially out there in the universe. So congratulations, David. We'll catch you on down the road.
All right, thank you.
Look, you finished second by 0.02 of a second. It's hard to be like really upset about
Well,
that, right? Like you
surprised.
You can. Well, I know, but you can only control what you can control, right? And David did everything right and lost by 0.02. So, hey, do you know who had just like the coolest seat in the house for the last couple laps there?
I'm gonna guess that was our third place finisher, Chad.
I think it was. If you're looking at the replay right now, Sean was like, why show what Chad saw at the finish when we can remind him that on lap 4, Chad met Elvis, Jesus, Tupac, Biggie, and every other dead celebrity and somehow came out of it with a clean race car. Chad, that was that boy. I guess let's back up. Let's talk about your wreck avoidance on lap 4.
Yeah, what's crazy is that I almost actually hit my teammate Dean, who was spinning across the racetrack. So that would have been a really bad situation in terms of the team funding there, because we'd have lost a lot of money on that deal.
Do you guys? Let me just ask: Has Mardi Gras caught on in the team chat as well, or is that just something that Brian and I can't let go of?
I don't know. There's been a couple people I think that have mentioned it, but honestly, I don't think anybody says anything about it.
Okay, we need to fix that. All right,
All right,
like
I'm
this
just gonna
needs.
keep saying it.
Yeah, Yaz is jumping in here. Yeah, no, look, this chat. I'm just telling you right now, this got to be a thing. Okay, like every time you talk to Dean, it's got to be like, "What's up, Mardi Gras?" Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be that. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, I could start it. I
Okay,
also
perfect.
paint all of our team cars for endurance races, so I could just plaster it all over.
See, that should be it. Like every time you paint the car, right? It's like Chad and David and whoever else, and then it's just like Mardi Gras. Like no Dean, no Maul, just Mardi Gras.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be great. Okay. Back to the race tonight, boy. Those last couple of laps, watching David and Ryan duke it out there. You were like stuck in fourth or fifth, and then the door opened, coming down the back straightaway, and for a second there, you kind of invited yourself to the tango, but then you had to sit back and watch. What was that like?
Yeah, for the last 10 laps, I was trying to get to the outside there, and I guess it was a 12 and somebody else. I don't even know who I was racing around, to be honest with y'all. But they were up there, and of course the two ahead of me were there. So like you were saying, I was kind of stuck and didn't really know where to go. But I really wanted to go to the outside, or kind of like the middle lane. And there were a couple times where I had a pretty good run that I thought about shooting the middle between those two leaders, but there just wasn't enough of a gap. And I've had a terrible time with luck on oval races this season in this series, and this is actually only the second one I've finished with no issues at all. So I was like, I just want to finish. Like, I don't care if it's first, second, third, fourth, or fifth. Just get me to the checkered. So when that hole opened on the last lap there, I jumped up there and tried to make a little bit of a run, but I just didn't have enough momentum. So if I had been able to get up there maybe at the start finish line and then run through 1 and 2 with it, kind of being on the outside, I might have had a shot, but it was just kind of hope something happens and you make it through and somehow magically win.
Biggest points mover tonight as well. You move up 4 spots into 9th. I know that you have had some moments this year that were kind of out of your control, and despite having one of the lower incident point counts in the league, your lap count is way down, even though you've made all 12 races. So, how do you use a night like tonight, where finally it seems like themes kind of broke in your direction, and you were able to avoid that wreck early on that could have easily been another mistake? How do you use a night like tonight, where you come home a close third, to kind of set up the last 6 races of the year?
Yeah, I think it's just trying to build back the confidence because, you get down in the dumps pretty quickly when you've got a lot of things that are kind of out of your control, between wrecks you can't avoid, or, like my internet cutting out a couple times in some of these races. It's just things you can't deal with or control with. And so it's good to have a race that just went perfectly. Like, I had a plan to not qualify, start in the rear, kind of bide my time, eventually make my way up, run the fuel dry every time. And like, it basically went 100% according to plan. And then somehow, with the way we only had the one caution, I'm still kind of confused how I even caught them, because they were like way ahead, 7-8 seconds ahead early on. And then all of a sudden you kind of look up and it's like, oh, there's the leader.
Did you pit on the only caution?
I did, yes.
That is how you caught them. I'm just going to fill you in on that right there. Because you guys, your entire pack had pit early, and you were able to run it out 10 laps longer. And so you had a shorter pit on your last spot combined with all of that time there. So that was fun to watch. There were not many things, because we had like 75 laps where Brian and I got to tell jokey time. But I got to tell you, that was one of the things that Brian and I were actually dead on for. We kind of predicted that your group was going to show up there at the end. So nice job. Great run tonight, Chad. Congratulations on the big points move for you as well. And off to the short track of Iowa next week. I have a feeling that one's going to be real interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to Iowa. Actually, Michigan and Iowa have always been good tracks for me. I've never driven them in this car, but in other cars, they've been good tracks. So hopefully Iowa's a lot.
We'll practice. That's all I can tell you for next week. Chad, great run tonight. We look forward to hopefully talking to you next week as well.
Thanks, guys.
All righty. I think that's going to do it for us here. No, it's not. What? Oh, come on here. Look, it's first time director thing, Brian. What have been talking about all night?
Guys thinking they can do that, just make this stuff up on the fly. Like Finian, you had a good view of that one at the end, man. A couple breaks go a different way. That's probably you up there battling for the win. Talk us through those final couple laps.
Yeah, honestly, my heart rate actually just finally went down to where it was before because my heart was pounding those last few laps, just trying to figure out where to go and make something happen. Honestly, I was just happy to be up there in the top 5 because I have not had the best luck at ovals this year. So just to be there was really good, and I didn't want to be the guy responsible for taking everyone out. So I was trying to find a way and find a hole a few times, but gave it my all up there at the end. It wasn't enough, but I'll gladly take 4th.
So with that out there, man, he just needed a couple more breaks. But I mean, you were kind of consistently chipping away at it the whole race. It was really, as we were kind of looking through things as the night was progressing on, man, you were just kind of kept chipping away at it. Was that the plan, or is that kind of what you figured out? Once you kind of got rolling.
Yeah, no, what really helped out was just nailing the pit stops, and that's really where I made up a lot of time on some of the guys. And I was really pretty much with Chad Dalton the whole race, and we were just slowly eating away at the leaders because on the restart, someone didn't get going. The top 10, we split for quite a while, and then throughout all the rest of the 60 laps, we were just charging up slowly and just hitting the line. I was trying to see if I could I was tempted to actually push him at the end to try to catch the pack, but I didn't want to be responsible for turning him around. So I was just trying to give him, I guess, an arrow bump to get us closer, and we finally caught them with 10 to go.
Sounds fun. We got Iowa coming up next week. Sears and a couple other guys seem excited about it. How do you feel about it?
Well, again, considering how my luck at ovals has gone this year, I'm a little bit cautious. I think definitely after this round, though, I'm feeling a little bit more up in ante. I'm going to definitely try to get as much practice as I can. Try to get another top 5.
Sounds good. We will catch you down the road then, Finian. Good run tonight.
Thank you so much.
That was Finian. And then, Jason, you're going to talk to some guy that choked away.
Oh,
wow.
Ouch.
I mean, the rule of being a GSRC broadcaster, you don't let the other guy beat you.
Well, I tell you what, my run at the end there on the high side died out. And I figured, I'm so far out of the points. Why the heck not? I want to go for the win. I punched it back down into 4th gear, dove to the inside, and I'm going to try to make something happen on the inside. Ended up only getting 5th out of it, but I'm okay. But keep in mind, all right, in the middle part of that race, I let off the gas just to play with them, dropped back to 6th or 7th, and went right back to the front in 2 laps. So it's whatever.
Adam,
I got to tell the guys though, but those guys were running up front tonight. Like I say that, but man, that was so awesome out there. Everybody at Lionheart was great. I mean, I got nothing but good things to say.
Adam, look, I got to tell you, just so you know, everybody who's ever finished 5th out of a pack of 5 cars always says, man, it was cool because I could have just drove straight to the front.
That's pretty much right. Hey, I know you guys want to get out of there here for tonight. Let me just plug real quick. Precision Racing League next Wednesday night. Ride Shotgun Motorsports is hosting the race for the trucks and everything at Charlotte. I want my Lionheart family there watching. It's for a good cause to raise money for our teammates. So hope to see you guys there.
Adam, why'd you guys pick Charlotte? Is there hopefully there's like a reason for that?
Well, the GoFundMe link has an expiration date.
What does that have to do with Charlotte?
It's the second race of the season for the PRL trucks, man, and we're going to be great. This riding shotgun's going to be great.
No. I'm all for races for good causes. You picked Charlotte. I was like, man, I got to come participate in that.
There you go. Hey,
never mind, not at Charlotte. I hit the wall.
Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to Dustin. Climber all race long. Finney in there at the end. Chad Dalton got in the mix. Man, that was great racing, guys. Love you guys.
All right, that's Adam Young. Pour one out for Texas for Adam as he comes home.
Forever young.
Fifth place. Oh man, all our viewers that were left are gone now. All three of them. Yes, way to go.
Viewer count's just dropping.
Yep, plummeting.
I have that
like
effect
Adam
on
was
people.
At the end of that race.
Right. Adam has that effect on people, yeah, but you should have to work in a booth with Yazik.
I think he has.
All right, hey, that's gonna do it. Let's make this one quick, huh? Sean Ambrose working overtime on his first broadcast. Now,
First one ever. Shout out to him.
The man
First one ever.
The man to be unionized after this. And we're gonna revolutionize.
To give him. Well, I mean,
Uber drivers and Sean Ambrose, man.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, butt kicker. On a serious note, the Lionheart series, we sit here and have a lot of fun at their expense. But George and Zaldo and his admins and what they've done with sponsorship is just like off the hook for a private league on iRacing, and they run 2 series, and they're both well-funded and have amazing prizes because of great sponsors, and that includes our friends at Butt Kicker and our race sponsor tonight and post-race show sponsor, Plasma Tracks. We didn't have enough yellows to talk about. You go to plasma-tracks.com. Gotta see these products. They're super bad to the bone. If you have a racing fan in your life and there's a holiday coming up, Plasma-Tracks. That's where you want to go. You're going to find them. Something really unique and really cool. George and Zotto, we mentioned all the work that he does. The software and hardware that we use for our broadcast listed up on your screen. June Lalonde providing the music. Check out the screen, find out how to get more for great work as well. Thanks to our team. Brian, that was fun. Way to bust on Sean all night. Amjad, great job with training, man. I got it.
Smart.
It's to have a first-time director like Sean, that well-trained. That was Amjad nailed it. Sean, welcome to the crew. We look forward to working with you again. Dougie Beard, pour one out for your cameras. If you'd like to find one, find out more about GSRC, go to Global SimRacing Channel.com. Check out the archive races, upcoming broadcasts. And speaking of upcoming broadcasts, the Butt Kicker 300 is at the Iowa Speedway. That is the de facto home track for the Lionheart Racing Series. We have our yearly summertime meetup next Thursday, September 26th, 1 week from tonight. Be there. You don't want to miss it. I promise you there will be less jokey time because I will be on an airplane to St. Louis. So Ryan Yazic's going to have to carry the load for me on that one. Yeah, exactly. Hey, maybe we can get Sean on his first broadcast.
Maybe, yeah. Sean, what you doing next Thursday?
Plenty more upcoming races. Scrolling to your screen. Check them out. Put them on the calendar. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you've stuck around this long, wow, you should go drink. Yes, God bless you. Until next time, remember, it's Newman's first law. Your brakes are absolutely flippin' pointless if you flipped over. Good night.